Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSI DFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm Mr. Mike 31. It's good to be back after a couple weeks. So back at Richmond now. Still a couple weeks before the playoffs, so I'm not going to worry about that too much now. But what we got here is we got a 6 o'clock race. I don't have practice data because I think it's kind of ridiculous. They are using the optional tire that they had at North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race. So it's a soft tire because this is a softer tire anyway. It's a high tire wear track. So you can go on the regular track Goodyear that Richmond would normally provide for you, or you have the option for the optional tire, which is going to give you more like short run speed, but it's going to fall off faster. So practice was a mix of the different people using those. Plus, the cars like waited and go out and wait for more rubber on the track. And then the whole factor too is that they practice like in the afternoon, and this race is going to start at 6 o'clock, which is the temps should still be decent, but they're going to fall off pretty fast. So the track conditions are going to change. So like practice data, I just didn't think it was really relevant. So we did see them race at Richmond earlier this year, and we saw Martin Truex and Kyle Larson dominate that race. So just go through the breakdown here. So Hamlin gets the pole and looked really good, which is shocking because Hamlin usually sometimes doesn't show his cards in qualifying and practice, and then goes out there and just like makes his way through the field and absolutely dominates. So he did pretty good here. He looked like he's got a solid car. All the cars look pretty solid. This week, with the exception of Gibbs. So I think that's definitely where you want to start your cash lineups. Truex, if you can get him in also as the second dominator, I really like that. I think that he's always done really well at here, and he's a veteran at the track, good at tire wear, so everything lines up. And if you watched the truck race last night, you had both Lucas and Majeski up towards the top, and I believe that they finished really close to each other. Yeah, like 1 and 2. So um, it's not outrageous. Track position is really good here. So if they have it early on, then that's something definitely that they should be able to maintain unless they do something screwy in the pits. Now I know Truex has had speeding penalties and lost tires and stuff like that, but I think he'll be fine here. Josh Berry is going to be a 100K guy because I don't think the ownership is going to be super high on him. I think people are going to look at it and be like, I don't know if he's going to be where we want him to be. He's probably going to fall back. Probably a better FanDuel play than a DK play. But I think I'm going to take a shot on him because I think that he is one that has a lot of upside here. He's looked pretty good at previous races in Xfinity. So I'm gonna take a shot and see what happens in my 100K lineup. I'm definitely going for that. So Chase Elliott, he looked really good here in practice and stuff. Again, I'm gonna throw that out, but he's had really good speed. I didn't see anything that makes me want to not play him or have any concerns. So if you want to save a little bit, he makes a nice second dominator. If you're going to go with a three kings lineup, which I talk about more and usually in truck and um, Xfinity, but that's like trying to get three 10K guys or like one 9K and two high 10K guys in the lineup. I think it's possibly a good strategy here, but with base differential on DraftKings, I think it's a little bit more dangerous and not necessarily a cash build. I think you need to pick and choose your dominators in your cash and go with at least two of them. I don't see it being a three dominator race, so you might be wasting your money. You might be better going for place differential if you want to spend that much salary and punt down below in your cash, but in GPP and definitely on FanDuel, get as many of these guys close to the front as possible. Christopher Bell is another great option who he struggled a little bit in the spring race, but that's because he qualified really far in the back and had trouble making it through the field again. You might have a fast car, but uh, track position is key here. So especially with fall off and long runs if you can't make it up. So I think that he is one that's closer to the front here, so I think that he's going to definitely be in contention to lead some laps and dominate in this race. Austin Dillon, shocker of all shockers up here. He has had pretty much a miserable season as the all the RCR cars have um, in Cup. They've been decent in Xfinity, and he went out there and like he was experimenting on the softer tire and making it work. But then he goes out there and lays a qualifying lap down that was like actually top 10. So I think that a lot of people are going to dismiss him and be like, yeah, heck no, Austin Dillon is not going to be a top 10 car on the fade. So I think that's where, if this does work out, he should be the second car in your 100K line. If you don't trust him, I'll give you another option coming up. But right now, I'm starting with those two. Busher and Wallace here. Busher's been good on these short, flat tracks with tire wear. And I just remember like Homestead, which is not a short track, but it's a tire wear track, just being dominant out there a couple years ago. So I definitely gonna play him in some GPP lineups because I think he could be solid. I think he could potentially work his way to the front. Bubba, same thing. He's been good on these types of tracks. Richmond's been good to him. I like the price break there too. Again, at FanDuel, these two would be great to mix in with the Dominators, but even though track position is good, I'd go for a little bit more place differential than trying to completely load the top 10 here if you're playing on DraftKings. But I think that if you end like no man's land and end up on one of these two as like kind of a third Dominator up here, I'm okay with it. But I think you'd prefer on the floor of the place differential in cash. Joey Logano, he is going to be my final 100K driver here because I don't think he's going to have high ownership because people looked at his season. But just remember, if you forgot, he did a masterful job using the tires and the optional tire and won the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro, which is a similar high tire wear short track. So I think that's going to definitely translate to this race and Hoyd would put him in a cash play, but I think he's better. I just don't think he's going to have the ownership. I think people are going to overlook him. I think people are going to try to jam in Hamlin, Truex, Bell, maybe Elliott, and Larson just because Larson is starting 16th. I think he's completely going to get overlooked. I like the price at 91, and I think that he could be surprising here. And he's one who's not a pit crew chief that can do some weird strategies with the tires, with short pitting, stuff like that, to be able to he's got his win now, I believe, so he doesn't have to worry about playoffs. I mean, they're still like looking for like playoff points and stuff, but I think that he can shoot for another win here, so I really like him. Tyler Reddick, I just think he like really went out there and qualified well. Same thing with Blaney, but the two of these drivers, I don't really trust them on this type of track with the tire wear. Just looking at some of their averages and comparable things, I think they're going to both fall back. Kyle Busch, I mean, he's just been a hot mess all season. He looked okay with the practice stuff that we saw out there, but I just even if he does have a fast car, he ends up with trouble, like speeding on pit road, just so many things. GPP, if you feel enticed to play him, but I'm probably not going to touch him at all. But I didn't want to put the fade on there because I do see some paths to being successful, but they're very few. Byron, not a great track for him here. Qualified 13th. I think he can stay in probably the top 15th. I don't see him having the upside to get into the top 10 with all the other drivers that I think are going to do well here. GPP for me. Ty Gibbs just hasn't been a really good type of track for him with some of these short flats, so and didn't qualify well and in practice didn't look great. I know we're taking practice with a grain of salt, but from what I saw from the numbers, didn't impress me. And I couldn't even make an excuse for him for any of it. So it's just going to be a GPP here. Larson, I think is going to be a trap. I think people are going to look at how well Larson did in the spring race and equate that, but he's been better in the spring race than the it doesn't necessarily call it the fall race, but we'll call it the second race. And I don't know why. It's maybe it's like the nighttime, maybe I I just can't figure it out. But again, he just like Gibbs, nothing in practice really, even though the Hendricks cars went out later and stuff and tried to figure some stuff out. I just don't think he has gonna have like long run speed. So could he potentially get up there through pit strategy and stuff? Yes, but you need a lot to happen for him to be a cash play. So I'm not gonna say fade him, but it's gonna be upside dominator. But I don't think he's like the place differential darling that a lot of people are probably going to try to play him in. So just be a little cautious with that. No Gregson. Always goes out there and sets his car up to run really well and qualify really well, but that doesn't necessarily mean he has the speed to maintain it. I think he's a top 25 car. I don't know if he's one that can get up into the top 15 with some upside. 66 isn't bad. If you land on him as last man in, I don't hate it. Um, I'd pay 100 less for Gillian any day if Gillian's not in your lineup. If Gillian's already in your lineup and you need another guy in the mid 6,000 range, I guess that's where you got to go. But other than that, I'm not really gonna touch him. Bowman, I think, could be a cash play here. I think there's some place differential upside here. I don't think he's going to go out there and like win the race or dominate or anything, but 86, I think that he can get into like the top top 12 is what I'm looking at for his price. So I think you can play him and can probably gonna be in no man's land if you're trying to get a lot of the expensive guys there. But if you're going more balanced, I want to give you an option there. Cindric's a fade, just hasn't looked good on these tracks here, and I don't think he's. I think his average like 23rd, so I think he's going to fall back at least 5 spots. So I'm not touching him this week. Hocevar and Zane Smith, Inspire guys, they just didn't have the speed in the first one. I know both of them have made some progress since the first race, and I know both did really well in truck races here. Hostfire won Richmond last year, so I think they understand the track and the tire wear. But I just don't know if the teams are going to give them the cars and the speed enough starting in these positions to be able to maintain this. When there's some probably about 5 guys that I could think behind them that could definitely pass them. Suarez signed again with Trackhouse, so that pressure's kind of off. He's okay here. Nothing like GPP because he might have a little bit floor for cash. He's borderline. So again, if you're in that 6K range and need a cash, another like let's play, and you don't want to go with Gregson, Suarez, if you have the $200 more, I think you can get to and be okay with. Ross Chastain is definitely going to be a prime play here. I know you're going to probably box score hunt and look at it and see like his average. Like he's had a lot of fall off in a bad way on some of these short flat tracks in Richmond where he's gone backwards, but he hasn't gone backwards. It's like he's qualifying in like the top 15 and like ending in the 20s. So I could definitely see him progressing here. He's only 7,900, which is like just a ridiculous price from what we saw in years past. I know he's been down. I know he hasn't been as good and as aggressive, but he has been okay on tire wear tracks, and I definitely think that he's one that can definitely be able to um, move up. Gillian, I think, is solid in cash. He's always been really good at entire wear tracks, and one that I think at 6,500 is a solid cash play. Corey LaJoy lost his ride while we were out. It was kind of bizarre. I thought he'd be okay. I don't know, was his antics with Larson or whoever when he like wrecked him, or just like he's been knocking on the door of progressing, but maybe they think he hit a ceiling and they can't go any farther, or they've got other plans in their time. So I don't know. I think LaJoy will end up with a cup ride. If not, it'd be exciting to see him in the Xfinity race for a couple years, building his way back up. Um, but right now, like they pulled the carpet out from under him. I don't think that he hasn't really been good at all on this type of track. So everything put together is a fade for me. Briscoe has been really good at Iowa tracks and Richmond in the few years he's been here. So and short flex he's also been good at. So I think he's a solid cash play here. Ryan Priest. Um, he just hasn't had a good season. It seems like he's like the lowest priority for the Stewart Haas team, who's closing up and probably not going to spend a ton of resources to try to do much this season. Um, so GPP for me, I'm just really don't see a ton of upside there. But he's better than maybe some of the other punts. But there's some other guys starting with around his price range that have more place differential and a little bit more floor if they screw up. So GPP for me. Eric Jones has been really good on tire wear tracks, even though it hasn't been the greatest season for Legacy and they've been disappointed. They've made a little bit of progress throughout the year, and I think he's solid at 62 as a cash play. McDowell is leaving forward and front row, going to Spire, I believe, and it just the results have not been there. Hasn't had fast cars. It seems like they've kind of abandoned him because I don't know if he abandoned them or if it was mutual or what happened. Um, you can't really read the tea leaves when the press release comes out because everything's unicorns and roses and rainbows. But I don't think I'm playing McDowell the rest of the season. Maybe at Daytona, but I don't think like super speedways. I like him, but I don't think I'm gonna be playing him anyplace else. Maybe some road courses. We'll have to see if anything like pops up where he looks good in practice when we actually have solid practice data. But probably not playing him much. And Brad Keselowski is a solid cash play here. He definitely has place differential upside. Definitely has a pit um, crew chief that's going to be using strategy to help get ahead. And I think that definitely is going to bode pretty well for them. I think all the rest of the ones here you can just kind of group together. Uh, Harrison Burton, yeah, I Dylan. Uh, Dylan's actually sorry. He's in a colleague car. It's still Chevy. Harrison Burton, Hemrick, and Stenhouse, and even like Riley Herbst here are all just GPP plays, punt plays. Like I'd probably Stenhouse, I'd play the least just because of his price point's $1,000 more than most of these. But really, I hate to say this, but I think John Hunter Nemechek's my favorite one down here, just because even though he's been slow, I mean, obviously he's not a 35th place car. His average finish is somewhere in the 20s. That's about 10 place differential points, so you got to go with that. And I'm gonna give Haley the prime play down here. He's just didn't do real in qualifying here, but he's had such a solid season. He's been okay on tire wear tracks. Um, throughout his career and really has been making strides with this Rick Ware team. So I think he'll definitely be able to move up into the top 25 and have about 10 place differential points. Also, and Parker Retzloff, if you watch the Xfinity videos, you know I'm a big fan of him. He drives actually for my number 31 there and Jordan Anderson, but this MBM car is just garbage and he's just above underwater with this one. Um, the talent up here is just so much above him. He was seconds away from like staying on the pace for like practice and qualifying. He's going to go multiple laps down really quickly, and I just can't do it. So I got for you. If you have any questions, put them in the chat below. Hit me at MegaRow31 on Twitter/X. If you want more information on FSI DFS, you can go to the description of the video, and our pricing package is in there. And if you just pay $6 for the whole day, you'll get NASCAR, you get baseball. If there's NFL preseason, we're covering that too. Keats has been doing a great job in the NFL room. Soccer, if there's anything today, we'll have that. So lots of options for you for just $6. And go to the description video and link to our pricing page is there. And if these videos help us back, like, subscribe to our channel, and share with friends. So thanks for watching. Good luck in your contests, and we'll be back next week. And if try to get as many videos out as I can, but we'll definitely always have a couple ones. So thanks for watching. Good luck in your contest. Hope you have an amazing weekend. I'll see you next time.